Welcome to ZKast, everyone. I'm ZS Caravallo from ZK Research, and I'm here on the shores of McCovey Cove at Oracle Park, home of the San Francisco Giants, three-time World Series champions, and I'm here with CIO Bill Schlough, who is, I think, widely regarded as one of the more tenured CIOs, certainly in Major League Baseball, but one of the more innovative ones as well. Bill, welcome to the show, and a quick intro on yourself.
Yeah, no doubt about the more tenured part of this. There's no argument there. This is my if you're in the 20s, it's like the anniversaries, I got to think. I think this is my 25th.
I think 25.
26th. Yeah. 1999, I'd always get trouble with the math of, anyway, I think it's 25 for me. 25, 26, one of those.
Yeah, and you're here for all three World Series.
Yes.
And you can tell because you have the big ring on your finger.
I brought the medium-sized ring today, yes. So big one weighs me down a little too much.
Congratulations on that. And Oracle Park, I think, it's interesting because even back to those days as AT&T Park, very innovative, right? First to do Wi-Fi, a lot of firsts here, and I think part of that is your demographic.
For sure.
Yeah.
And to be honest, Zias, it's been a few years here since we've had many firsts. Although I guess we were one of the first to do cardboard cutouts in the seats. I think the Mariners were up there also. But those aren't the kind of firsts that we got that excited about. And COVID really set us back a little bit here, even more so than some other cities. So we're excited to be back doing things for the first time again and leading the charge.
So given your 25-year tenure, it must be fascinating if you look back to think how important your role has changed, because I think 25 years ago, I don't know if we were thinking about technology being an integral part of fan experience or baseball operations, but it certainly is today. So can you just talk a little bit about that shift?
Yeah, for sure. And I think that, to be fair, like when we opened this ballpark, that was a big part of our mantra, that technology was going to be a part of the fan experience and was going to both drive our success on the field, but also enhance the experience for our fans. So that's really been the mindset since I started. But that's definitely evolved in terms of how that manifests today versus how it did way back when. So definitely technology staffs have grown, investment in analytics has grown a ton, investment in wireless infrastructure to enable all that has been huge, and then more and more bells and whistles for what we like to say to elevate the complete fan experience is one of our 5 strategic pillars here.
Yeah, well, I come to a lot of games here, and I like to think I'm a complete fan, so I know I rely heavily on the infrastructure here. So I'm here for the 2024 Media Day, and I appreciate the invite to the open house. Before we talk about the announcements today, of which there were many in the technology area, let's look back to last year. I know last year you announced that you were one of the first parks, in fact, the first outdoor deployment of Wi-Fi 6E. How'd that deployment go, and was there any lessons learned from that, and what did that enable you to do?
I mean, the lesson learned is that I wish we had partnered with Extreme earlier, to be honest. I mean, it went, Comcast oversaw the project with Extreme Hardware, and it was on time, on budget, and exceeded expectations. And, really for us, going all the way back to 2004, before that maybe not so much, but back to 2004, 20 plus years ago, when we were Pacific Bellpark, it's always been about providing a fully connected experience when fans are here, so they do not need to worry about the ability to stay connected when they're here. And that's been the mindset for 20 plus years, and Extreme has enabled the latest generation of that, and enabled, back then we were worried about people taking a phone call to find out, if there was a problem at home with the babysitter.
Yeah.
But now it's way beyond that. It's, streaming anything in your seats, because even though baseball games are a lot quicker than they once were, there's still some gaps, and so you still might want to check in on the Masters, you might want to check in on a Warrior playoff game or an NFL Sunday. We enable that. You might want to get highlights. We want to enable that experience related to our game, to other sporting events. Who knows, maybe someday, related to wagering or that type of stuff, not in California in the near term, but maybe at some point. But really just, again, it's about that fan experience and connectivity, the underpinning of all of it. That's just indirectly, Wi-Fi enables security cameras, it enables advertising boards in the ballpark, it enables entry, magnetometers, it enables cameras, you name it. There's so much that relies upon the Wi-Fi you don't even think about, but if it goes down, that's when you realize.
In fact, one of the things that impressed me last year when I talked to you was the thought process, the completeness of the experience, where you said even when fans are outside the park after the game and they're hailing a ride share, we don't want the network being slow because now they're getting frustrated they can't call their car.
That's huge.
Right? Yeah.
That's huge. and yeah, you got to think about from the moment that a fan starts thinking about coming to a game to when they get in their car or transit to then they get here to when they get home. All of that is going to be part of their memory of the experience. And if they had a horrible time getting that Uber out of the park, no matter how much fun they had at the game, that's what they're going to remember.
Yeah, so I think it's fair to say the experience has now become network-centric. Right? Obviously, if the network goes down, everything goes down. Now that the network foundation's in place, you made a number of new announcements this year, some of which use the network. So can you talk about all those new announcements? There was a bunch of them, by the way. So.
Yeah. There's a lot this year, and it felt like we had been saving up for a few years following on COVID and a brief lockout, and so...
Well, you came roaring back this year.
For sure, and been firing on all cylinders all offseason. I mean, I think there's probably 5 things. I'm going to do my best to remember them all. But we'll start with, I'll start with the video boards. Each year, we're adding more video boards here at this ballpark, and we feel like the park at this point, this is our 25th season, as I said here. And so half of the parks in Major League Baseball have been built since this park. Some parks, certain cities, not to be named, have already been torn down or retired after 25 years.
Yeah.
But we plan to be here as long as Wrigley or Fenway. So we're not even a quarter of the way through our life yet at 25 years. We're going to be here a long time, but if you want to be here forever, you're going to have to continue to invest. And so video boards for us, and TVs too, are a huge way to make the fans feel like it's a new park when you come. Put video boards in new places, new content on those boards. So we've added actually 11 new video boards this year. Super excited about. Upgraded all of our fascia boards, wrapped our fascia board all the way. If fans could see what you and I are seeing right now, they'd see that it wraps all the way around behind home plate. We've got new boards in various locations where we haven't had them before. We've got new video boards directly behind home plate. And the coup de grace, I think is the proper pronunciation. Coup d'etat, I don't know, something French.
A coup de something.
Coup de something is, for the first time, putting a board on the outside of the ballpark geared specifically for our kayakers in McCovey Cove. So video boards is point number 1.
That's awesome, by the way, that you can sit out in the cove now and watch the game.
We've hit 102 balls out there, and the kayakers are trying to follow it on their devices, and they have the connectivity out there. But now they can actually watch a board as well to see where that ball is going to come. So that's one. Next is the sound system. 25-year-old ballpark, sound system supposed to last us 10, 12 years. It lasts us 24 years. But it was time for a refresh. It still sounded okay, but we're worried those speakers might fall on people's heads after 25 years. And we thought it sounded fine. But now that we've got a new system in, we had no idea what we were missing. And it's not louder, but it's more intelligible. It's more consistent throughout the park. And we've added the subwoofers. Credit to the Seattle Mariners who showed us how it's done. We went up there, looked at their park, they cranked it up, and we're like, okay, we want that. Yeah. So
but Kerry Escobar and team there has done a great job.
Yeah. Kerry's awesome, and they're definitely innovators up there too. So we got sound system, we got video boards, we've got new lights in the ballpark this year for the first time. In our facility, we have colored lights. They're LED and kind of on the leading edge in terms of the ability to track players, put on a show on the field. We can turn all the lights out and they'll come right back on, unlike what may have happened at Monday Night Football once upon a time a while back where it took about 20 minutes to get them back on. No, we can turn them off, turn them on, and I'll give credit to the Braves, among others, on this one. We've seen what the Braves have done there. Again, we're always learning from our counterparts everywhere, so shout out to Scott Wade for this one, but incredible show. Our players have seen it on the road, and it's not just about the fans for this one. Actually, it fires up the players, too. Yeah. For our closer to walk in with a spotlight on him, colors all over the field, gets him fired up. You add that to the sound system, and we're hoping that actually drives wins on the field, as well as a great experience for our fans.
Yeah, they showed a preview of that. That was pretty exciting. It's like a rock concert, nightclub meets baseball game. And nobody would ever said that about baseball before, right?
No. I mean, it's still baseball. We're not going to we're never going to be that. Yeah. We're not going to be the NBA or a rock concert, but we can add elements of that at the right moment. So that's 3 of them. We're really investing heavily into frictionless concessions and ultimately autonomous concessions, doubling down in that space. We've got a new concessionaire here, Aramark. We're labeling Diamond 58 after a number of years with Bon Appetit, our prior concessionaire, and really investing, doubling down on mash-in units, kind of self-checkout, and then likely to invest even further into that next year. So really excited about that element. Again,
and what's
removing
the
friction.
Of 58?
What's that?
What's the significance of 58?
58 was when we moved to San
when you moved
Francisco.
to, that's right,
why
yeah.
you hear all these 58s
Yeah,
all around. 1958.
Yeah.
It wasn't our win total last year.
Yeah,
We won a few more games than that. So that's the fourth thing, and fifth, and last but certainly not least, we're this technology I'm probably more excited about than any technology since Wi-Fi originally is moving to facial authentication for access to the ballpark. I can remember the days when you had to rip a ticket back at Candlestick, and then we came here and we had turnstiles with scanners built in, so you could scan that barcode, and then very quickly we went to mobile scanners, and then very soon after that we went to NFC, so you don't need to scan, but you still need to hold up the phone.
Yeah.
But once you experience facial authentication ticketing, this version of it, shout out to MLB and the Phillies. In this case, again, looking to another team that was the leader. They piloted it last year. Michael Cunningham out there led this for them, and we loved what we saw out there. So we will be one of 4 teams that are debuting that this year, doing it at 2 gates. And once you experience go ahead, there's no going back.
Yeah, I am super excited about that myself. From what I understand, that isn't. I know there's a couple of teams. There's one team in the NFL that's using a 5G based system, which add a little bit of cost and complexity. But this runs over Wi-Fi, you said.
It can run over Wi-Fi. That's how we're planning to run it here. And we've seen what other teams are doing. Definitely, I've talked to my counterpart of the Cleveland Browns, who are a leader in this space, and they're already at the point where they've got 15% of their fans per game using facial authentication to come in. And so, to me, that's the bar. And it would not surprise me at all if over half of our fans are using this within a couple seasons. Because again, once you try it, you're never going to go back to pulling your phone out of your pocket.
Yeah,
so.
Yeah. No, that one in particular I heard about, and I've been excited about it. I know there's a few airlines, Emirates, and things that have experimented with that, and it just doesn't. For all the technology we have today and all the AI, it just seems like that's one that is ripe for innovation for places like that. So
yeah,
for
sure. And again, shout out to Sean Walker and Kerry Zaremba at MLB and the folks who've really kind of been leading the charge in this space. I think it's the future.
Okay, now I can't talk to a tech innovator today without talking about AI, and there's a great big AI show going down in San Jose with the NVIDIA event this week. So I'm sure, being one of the leading CIOs, it's come across your radar. And how are you thinking about the use of AI, within the park, but also as part of baseball ops?
I mean, I honestly think this is such the buzzword today that the question more is like, how are you not thinking about it? Because it just permeates every aspect of your business. It's kind of like the English language or something. It's like, how are you using English today? You're using it in every conversation you have. So any aspect of our business, from baseball operations and scouting and player development to video production to business analytics, every different division of our organization is exploring AI and generative AI to see how they can do their job more efficiently, or how they can find new competitive advantage on the baseball field, whatever it might be. So I wouldn't be surprised, to be honest. I don't want to break this news on this podcast, but I've been thinking about do I need to hire, and I honestly have a guy who, his informal title on my team, he's been with me long. He's been here longer than I have, so you would think it'd be hard to teach an old dog new tricks. But he's been with us over 25 years, and former software developer. And he really, when ChatGPT hit the market, he was the first one in my office saying, "Bill, you gotta pay attention to this." I wish he had said, "Bill, you need to invest in NVIDIA right now." He didn't say that.
Yeah.
But he's the one driving this. And so, I mean, I'm thinking, man, I need to change his title. And his title, I think organizations, sports teams, not that far off, where we're going to have title of, chief AI officer or, AI, I call him AI evangelist, AI guru. But it helps to have somebody who is leading the charge in terms of helping educate all the different business units on the possibilities, because absent that, there also are a lot of forces on the other side saying, whoa, how do we restrict this? How do we protect the organization? How do we secure the organization? Which is very important, but if you take that mindset first, I think, as opposed to being an innovator, you're going to be safe, but I don't know that safety is the key to success. So.
Yeah, I mean, I just think from a fan perspective, when I'm sitting in the stands, and if I could interact with the Giants app and just ask it, who was the last player to hit a home run, 2 home runs over in that particular spot, and it should be able to like go figure it out and then also show me the video or something like that, right?
Sure,
so it can completely change my experience. Yeah.
So, you and I were talking about this earlier today, Zias. It's like, no matter how long you're here, you think, wow, that there's no way that the technology could go further than that.
Yeah.
Now that we're, tracking the spin rate on the ball and the launch angle and the speed, but there's always a next step. Okay, well, now we're doing that. Let's track the players now. Let's track the body parts on the players. Let's track their biometrics on the field. There's always like a next step, and that's what I love about working in this industry.
Yeah, in fact, in the Q&A with the industry analyst, NVIDIA's CEO, Jensen Huang, was talking about this state we're in right now where we're doing a lot of things today that if I had said to you, we're going to be interacting with the computers to create pictures of cats and things, you would have thought that was crazy, right? Like,
I still think it's crazy creating pictures of cats, but okay.
But indeed, those things that would have sounded crazy a decade ago are very real, and not only very real, but in demand, right?
For sure.
Yeah,
for sure. And I mean, again, you can just rewind before the iPhone and think back to then and all the things we can do with our phone today.
Yeah.
And what it does, both taking photos or tracking all of your, medical vitals in your sleep. Are you kidding me?
Yeah.
You put a ring on your finger, tracks your sleep. I mean, yeah.
Well, one of my homes, obviously, we have other residences in Boston where sports betting is legal. I would never have thought that I would have trusted a phone enough to actually bet in stadium on a prop bet or something like that, right? But now it's second nature. You don't think about it. So, so other than AI, I know MLB last year experimented a little bit with the metaverse and broadcast a couple of games in it. There's all kinds of stuff swirling around the world of entertainment. What are the things you're thinking about? Like, if you think of baseball or sports, a decade from now, do you have any idea what that would even look like?
I mean, personally, I love some of the innovation that's taking place with volumetric video and the ability to inject yourself into the experience on the field, as opposed to a traditional sit on a couch and watch a game experience, to actually be able to watch that from any spot on the field. And that can be done today, but it's more of an animated type experience.
Yes.
But when you can get to the point where that is as real, I put on the Apple Vision Pro goggles with at an event recently, and the Cavaliers were showcasing some stuff that they're doing with their game, where you can kind of place the court wherever you want to. And I swear, when I put on those goggles with some of these, AR type experiences, it's almost like it's more real than reality. And I was sitting in a conference room the other day. Sorry, I think we're off topic, but I'm going to go here anyway. Sitting in a conference room, and I was thinking of a Star Wars movie, but I was thinking, okay, I've got the people around the table here, and we've got this Zoom. If we all had like our Apple Vision Pro goggles, could we just like be all looking at each other here in a mixed reality world where we might as well all be in the room? And so I was just sitting in a conference room thinking about that. But think about that from a game experience.
Yeah.
If you could actually be at home, but be looking around with your friends, and it being a very real experience. You're actually watching the real game, and the people next to you look real, and you can interact with them. I think, man, that's going to be pretty cool when you can do that.
I actually think that would give a whole new appreciation for how hard this game is and how good the players are. If you could actually watch a fastball come in at the rate the players do, or view it from center field and see how fast a fly ball is coming at you, I think the fan that yells, "My grandmother could hit that," or something like that would now understand. You probably couldn't hit that, right? It's a very special skill these guys have.
I mean, just imagine you're sitting in the seats and you're wearing these AR glasses or goggles, whatever the next generation is beyond now, and you're like, you know what? Let's walk out on the field right now.
Yeah.
And so you're virtually there. You're not really there, but you just walk out on the field. And I always wanted to just stand behind Brandon Crawford at shortstop and see that ball coming at him and watch him make the move, make the pick, and make the throw, and see the spin on the ball and the angle on the ball. I always love the seats where you can see a ball coming from a shortstop or a third baseman to first base, or stand behind the guy who's about to steal a base. Just walk out on the field and experience that. I think that may happen in our lifetime. That's how you can experience a game.
Yeah. Well, great. It seems like there's no shortage of possibilities here.
Yeah.
So, all right, Bill, just a couple fun questions for you.
Okay.
The season's about to start. I think opening day is next week. And prediction on how you think the Giants are going to do. You got one juggernaut in your division, obviously.
I mean, At this point,
The team's loaded, though.
After this offseason in my 25, 26, however many years it is with the organization, we've made more upgrades in the ballpark than any other year, other than when we opened the park, and we've made more upgrades on the field than any other year. So last year when I tried to make my annual bet with Ralph, my counterpart at the Dodgers, he turned me down for the first time in 25 years, said I'm not going to bet on the season series this year because we're in a rebuilding year. So their rebuilding year is still win the division. So maybe we're in the rebuilding mode this year and we're going to win the division because they've taken a strategy to invest big in some huge name free agents, and more power to them. But I like our portfolio strategy of bringing in 6 new players this year, bringing in a new coach, Bay Area ties, a lot of energy and enthusiasm around the team this year. So I don't know how many games we're going to win, but I do expect to be in the postseason, and I can't wait to face those guys down south again and see how we match up in the postseason.
Well, once the postseason starts, anything happens.
That's right.
So, and then do you have a favorite memory in this ballpark?
I do. A lot of magical memories. Oh my gosh.
Well, 3 World Series, I mean.
World Series, perfect game. I mean, a perfect game was amazing to see a perfect game because a World Series is going to be exciting. A perfect game is just a regular Tuesday night, and all of a sudden it becomes magic. But for me, the only time I've ever cried in this ballpark was the year 2007 when we hosted the All-Star Game, and Barry Bonds was our guy here, and greatest player I've ever seen on the field, and anyone who's seen him on the field, you threw him a strike, it was in the cove. 102 home runs out there. We've been here 25 years. I think 40 of them are his.
Yeah.
He played
that wouldn't even be approaching triple digits if it had not been him, right?
We'd be at quadruple digits. If Bonds were here probably by now. So he was magic, and he was not going to be in the All-Star game. And our fans voted him into the All-Star game single-handedly. The fans here in San Francisco did. And to watch him walk out on the field in his park, his final season, as an All-Star, I know exactly where I was sitting, and I'll never forget that moment.
Oh, well, that sounds like a great place to wrap up then. So, Bill, unless you have anything else to add, thanks for a little bit of a walk down memory lane and a good view of what's coming at the park this year.
Appreciate it, Zias. Always enjoy my time with you.
Yeah, so on behalf of Bill Schlough, CIO of the San Francisco Giants, I'm Zias Caravallo from ZK Research, saying thanks for watching. Please hit that subscribe button, and I'll see you next time on the next episode of ZKast.